Welcome to another Real Estate Talk Show, featuring highlights of the best interviews from our national real estate radio show. Here's another property expert.
Well, starting a property portfolio can be a very scary thing to do, so it's pretty handy if you can learn some of the hard lessons before you start. And that's what we're going to help you with this morning in the show, because our theme is all about the mistakes, or the biggest mistakes made by first-time investors. And in some cases, being an investor myself, looking through some of these, I think, wow, I'm still making some of these mistakes. Rob Farmer is the CEO of Australia's biggest rent roll, with over 40,000 clients and more than $10 billion worth of property under management. So he must know what he's doing. G'day, Rob.
Hi, Kevin. How you going?
Yeah, good, mate. Do you ever sleep?
I do. I try to.
You must have a great team, because I know you're Australia-wide, but you've got good teams all around Australia.
We have got a great team. We've got local offices all across the eastern seaboard of Australia.
Yeah, okay. Now, do you sort of backroom all of your administration? Is that how you do it?
Most of our key functions are done within the offices, in our local offices. But yeah, we certainly centralise a lot of our back-end administration to make sure that our clients' funds are well looked after.
All right, mate. Well, we're going to keep you here for the rest of the morning just talking about some of these things. So let's deal with some of the biggest mistakes or classic mistakes that first-time investors make. Where do we start?
Well, I think the best place to start really is how we think about our property investing activities. Mm-hmm. And what I find when I speak to a lot of landlords is that they don't really think about their property investing as a business.
Okay, well, if they're to think of it as a business, do you think they should have some kind of a business plan and know what they're going to go into before they even start? Absolutely,
Kevin. I think that's a really important point. And I like to think of property investing as investing in any other thing. And if I was to give you $500,000 to go and buy a small business, what's interesting is you'd probably treat that and you'd develop a business plan, you'd understand what your product was worth in the market, you'd build a team around you to make sure that your business is getting the right outcome, that have KPIs. But what happens is when we invest in property, I see people really treat it quite differently, and they get all passive and just assume once they've bought the property, their job's done.
Do you think we're a bit blasé about some of our property investment?
I think generally as a society, whether it's our superannuation or our property, we're absolutely very blasé about it. And I think setting ourselves objectives and building a business plan is really important when we're investing in property.
Okay, well, let's move to the second one, mate, which is you talk about forming a direct relationship with the tenant. Doesn't that actually help to get a better tenant?
This is a really interesting point, and my personal view is that I like to not get too involved in building a relationship with the tenants. Some people that might work for them, but on the whole, I find that for most people it's pretty difficult to get close to a tenant and then actually, as I said before, treat it like a business. So, for example, if rent's not paid on time, if you become friendly with the tenant, it's very difficult to deal with that professionally. Or if it's time for a rent increase, or there's maintenance that needs to be done that perhaps is unreasonable. For a lot of people, if they get too close to the tenant, it's difficult for them to achieve the best business outcome.
Yeah, very good advice. I think it comes back then to making sure that you've got a good professional property manager on your team. We're covering the classic mistakes made by first-time investors this morning in the show, and my guest is Rob Farmer, who's the CEO for Australia's biggest rent roll company. It's called Run, R-U-N, Run Property. Rob, if you can stick with me, we've got 10 to get through. We'll deal with them as we go through the morning, and we'll catch you a little bit later this hour.
Thanks, Kevin. Sounds great.